We, as a National Unity Platform, have been the biggest victims of these kangaroo courts before, during, and after the elections of 2021. Over 2,000 of our members and supporters were abducted and detained on the orders of either the unit disciplinary committees or the division court martials or the general court martial. Most of them were charged with ridiculous trumped-up charges of being found with military stores, literally referring to our red berets and red overalls. As we speak today, very many of them are still languishing in prison, 4 years and some more, without trial. Recently, all of us saw with shock how the regime forced and coerced some of our comrades to accept the offenses that they never committed. It was such a travesty of justice, and we call upon all Ugandans of good conscience to condemn it and continue condemning it. But before all this happened, you all remember that I was personally charged before the same court, the military court, and the regime presented 2 machine guns claiming that they were found in my hotel room in Arua. Of course, eventually, the guns disappeared, and out of both international and local pressure, the charges were dropped. So when we speak about the oppression and the injustice in military courts, ladies and gentlemen, we don't just talk about it as academic knowledge. This is lived experience. We've been through it, and so many Ugandans continue to go through it. The court martial has been turned into a tool of oppression by General Museveni because he has full control of it. He decides who gets charged in the court martial, what charges are preferred against that person, and who does or doesn't get bail from the court martial. He uses it to punish and intimidate his opponents, and we condemn that. So here we come together knowing that Dr. Kizza Besigye and Haji Obed Kamulegeya cannot and will not get justice in that military court. We therefore jointly demand that Dr. Kizza Besigye's charges and Haji Obed Kamulegeya's charges be dropped, and if they can't be dropped, let them at least be charged in a civilian court because they are civilians. We demand that those charges, those bogus charges, be dropped against them. And I mean, looking at common sense, even if Dr. Kizza Besigye and his colleague were found with guns in Kenya, how does that become a monopoly? How do those guns become a monopoly or even the business of the Ugandan military? We are aware that these charges in the court martial are meant to intimidate, coerce, and ultimately subdue the people of Uganda and their leaders to stop them from challenging the corrupt system, the corrupt criminal regime of General Museveni. We are here to say to General Museveni that no amount of coercion, no amount of oppression, no amount of impunity will stop the people of Uganda from seeking better. And yes, no amount of intimidation will stop us from offering leadership to these people until we get to a country that we want to live in. Friends, so many dictators have done exactly, or even worse, to their people like Museveni has done to the people of Uganda. But history has taught us that they ultimately come crumbling down when people don't give up. From the dictators that we've seen in history, and yesterday it was Assad of Syria who has oppressed the people of Syria, him and his family, for more than 50 years. They came crumbling down yesterday. So yesterday it was Assad in Syria, and hopefully tomorrow it will be Museveni in Uganda. Of Uganda never to give up on hope, to keep fighting for what they rightly deserve, for keep pushing for liberation, because there's no doubt that their freedom is very soon coming. I want to thank you all for listening to me. Thank you very much for God and my country.
The principals of various political entities here, our host here, the leader of opposition, honorable members of parliament present here, members of the press, all the dignitaries. First of all, I would like to correct the impression here. I wasn't invited as the Lord Mayor here. Yes, I hold that title. I'm proud of it. I was duly elected, but I'm not here as the Lord Mayor of Kampala. I am here as the acting president of the FDC, sitting at Katonga, now in transit to PFF. So I would like that to be duly recognized because we had a delegates conference that convened at Katonga and I was duly elected, and we have an institution we are running there. We are in the process of morphing into PFF. So I headed a delegation here comprising of Honorable Waf here, Honorable Bakandonda here, and also Honorable Doreen Nyanjula here. I would like to thank the principals here of various political entities for organizing this arrangement, this forum, to jointly come out to condemn these transgressions. This is not a matter for Dr. Chiza Besigye. It's not a matter for Obedi Kamlegea. It's not a matter for the NUP victims who are languishing before the General Court Martial and of course in other ungazetted detention facilities. It's not a matter for General Muntu or any of us. It's a matter for all Ugandans. We are talking about universal human rights. We are talking about a travesty of justice, which is under our watch, superintended over by people who are supposed to take charge of the country under the existing constitutional order. The greatest concern to all of us, the Constitution right now is a mere paper tiger. And that should concern all of us. We oftentimes talk about the Constitution being the supreme law of the land, but that's no more. It's an illusory document which is taking a direction parallel to what the powers that be are doing. It's incumbent upon all of us, regardless of our political differences, different political affiliations, to rally in a single file and take on the bull by the horns. And I'm glad this morning we have assembled here to make this proclamation that we stand in unison against this injustice. We thank you very, very much, all of you, the principals, for the firm stance you have taken. For the record, the General Court Martial is not a court. And I will request from our vocabulary to expand it. We should expand it from our vocabulary. It's a disciplinary committee. If you want to be civil enough, you can call it a tribunal. But it's not a court within the meaning of the law. It's a misnomer, even under the Constitution, under our laws. It's not a court of competent record. It's not a court of judicature. When we are looking at the hierarchy of courts, it's nowhere. It's like the discipline and, is it called Discipline and Rules Committee of Parliament? It's not a court. So by continuing to call it a court, we are sanitizing it. and we give that facade of, trial being conducted by an impartial court, which is not the case. So let us call it what it is, a disciplinary committee of the military, where they are dragging civilians to subject them to martial law. And it's high time we came out together, assertively and aggressively, to say enough is enough. We have exhausted the legal processes of challenging the jurisdiction of this court, this tribunal over civilians. We have done that before. And I would like colleagues here, without singling out individuals, at least the Honorable Medard Segona here led us very well in the case of Kabazuguruka, where a court unequivocally pronounced itself on this matter. Unequivocally. 2021, a decision was made. The Attorney General made an appeal, which is still pending. And those of you who are interested in this ruling, which was given by by Justice Owinyidoro, 2021, staying execution of that proclamation, they were very instructive directives. He said, since this is a matter of great public concern, urgent in nature, it will be fixed and disposed of expeditiously. That was way back 5th August 2021. We are now in 2024. Maybe in his diction, with all due respect, the word expeditious has acquired a new meaning. Because if up to now it has not been disposed of, and I want to tell you for the record, since then, the justices of the Supreme Court who are handling, many have passed on. Justice Opiowel died, Justice Arach died, Justice Justice who retired, Monda, Faith Monda. Now it's just Chibita and Owinyidoro who are still there. And there is no indication as to when it's going to be disposed of. Members of Parliament who are here, Article 79 is very, very clear. It's a duty of all of you to protect, jealously, to protect the Constitution, the sanctity of the Constitution, its spirit and the letter. Let us rise to the occasion, regardless of our political divide. As I conclude, the proceedings continue tomorrow.